Yo, good morning. It is January 3rd. Happy New Year. And this video is going to be about letting your ego dissolve or getting out of your own way in life and business. I'm going to call this Car Chronicles because I'm in the car driving to an appointment to meet with a seller in Loganville, Georgia. Have about 47 minutes to get there, so I'm just going to be venting and talking. So the main thing I've learned from real estate is that it's not about you, right? It's not about what you think is best. It's not about what you want. It's about what your buyer or seller want. So that means getting your own opinions, your own ego of what you think should be right out of the way. Now, in sales, I initially got into sales thinking it was more about, I'm in real estate sales right now, and I initially got into it thinking about, real estate, learning about zoning and all those, and the sales process and how to actually sell homes and property. But really it's what sales is about personal relationships. It's about building relationships. It's about ensuring that the relationship that you've built, they understand and they trust that you understand what their needs are and what their goals are, and that you're going to work to accomplish them, and that they can trust you with a big financial task, right? I found in sellers that I've worked for where I have not developed that relationship as strong as I possibly could have before actually listing their home, I have a more difficult time selling it, or have a more difficult time communicating with the sellers to be able to actually, get the job done, right? And that's twofold. Really, it's me asking the right questions and saying what's important for you. And this goes into any sales that anyone does, or just relationships in general. If you're not asking the questions, the real questions, if you're asking just superficial things, then you will not get to the root of the motivation of any person, whether it's you or me or your mom, dad, brother, friends, your significant other. Doesn't matter. If you're not asking the real questions or the why behind some of the maybe higher level answers that we give, we'll never find out what deeply drives that person. So in asking those questions, you really, the purpose and what I see is, what I've learned, is that your ego has to get out of the way. You have to let go of this idea that they're gonna think you are prying into their life, or that you are, trying to maybe do something nefarious or something, something that's against them. Really, you're asking those questions so that you can understand their motivation better, and so that you can provide as much value as possible, and then actually be able to work for them because you understand what their needs are. You really want to become an extension of them, but provide expertise through your knowledge and your specific skills that you have, right? So asking questions is a big part of it, but before you can even ask questions, you have to get out of your own way and think that you know what's better for them. If you don't understand what their motivation is, there's no way you can make any assumption that you even know what is going on in their life and what they're trying to accomplish. So things of helping getting your ego out of the way, for me, has always been meditation has been a really big one. It just allows you to to realize that your thoughts are separate from you, and your thoughts are always going to be running, but you don't necessarily have to attach yourself to those thoughts. That's a little bit more higher level, but if you do practice 5 to 10 minutes of meditation a day, it can really help separate that. And I'm guilty of not being consistent with it, but when I am, it's great. And an app that I highly recommend for that is called Insight Timer. You can set any time limit that you'd like for meditation, and then it'll ring a bell when it starts and ring when the timer ends. And then it also lets you know people in the US and the world actually that are meditating at the same time as you, which is really great. You can add friends. I like to, after I meditate, you'll see other people that you meditated with, just send them a note and say, hey, thanks for meditating with me. It's cool. You can meet someone that's in a different country and then make a friend and then go and, meet up each other when you guys travel. So that's fun as well. Another thing that I think, in addition to meditation, that's important is you build a process of actually having communications and how your meetings or your appointments really go. Because if you don't have a structure, it's really easy to want to fill the silent space with words. So having your questions written down before you get there are really important. Having a set of questions that you ask before you work with your prospect in whatever sales industry you're in is really important, because then you can sit back and just listen and take notes and be able to actually sit in the silence that often leads to a person actually letting you know why they're looking to do what you can help them to do. So that's it. That's the main thing is, dissolve your ego, get your ego out of the way, get out of your own way, ask the right questions to get deep understanding of what the motivation is of that client, of that person, whether it's in life, business, or love even, right? Get out of your own way, find out what those actual motivators are for that individual, and then assist and help them reach those goals through the skills that you have. And you may not have the skills that they need based on their answers, right? You have to be open to that. In romantic relationships, if they're looking for something else, you find out through asking these questions, and you can't offer that, then you can't, right? So in business, obviously it would be different because you'd have more of leads that you're qualifying before you get there. But asking the right questions allows you to understand what actually they're looking for, and then you can make the best action necessary based on that. All right, guys, peace.